Hey everyone, welcome back to my job search process series, and now we are in week 2. If you haven't been following this series, I took a gap year and now I'm looking for my next role. And last episode we got our resume and cover letter together, and this episode we are going to be focused on preparing for recruiter screens, which is usually the first round when you do these like tech interviews. It's been a while since actually I filmed the last video, so this is not officially week 2. I think this is week 3, but I actually started turning in applications even before my resume was like as good as it is now. This is my job hunting schedule, and as you can see, I've been either ghosted or rejected by half of the companies. I've been pushed to the next round for the other half. I'm already seeing that like a referral is literally the most essential thing you need in this job search process. And even with a referral, I've totally been rejected, even though I feel like I meet the minimum requirement. Basically, the only way I get interviews I'm noticing is if I have a referral, which is kind of weird, honestly. Like usually with blind applications, at least they'll throw you like little coding tests that you have to even pass before you even talk to a recruiter. But now it seems like, at least in my experience, that they won't even consider you without a referral. It's just really changing my strategy. At this point, I'm thinking I'm only going to apply to jobs that I know I can get a referral to. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about that because it feels like a waste of time to even turn in my application if it's not even going to be seen unless I have a referral. Maybe I could use that time to try to network with someone who works at that company who could maybe eventually give me a referral. So as you can see, I've been moved on to the next round for about 50% of the jobs I've applied to, which honestly, I didn't even expect it to be that high. I'm really blessed on that end. So that means that this week is going to be all about prepping for those recruiter screens. Recruiter screens are actually, usually you pass them, but I have had an experience where I didn't pass a recruiter screen. So I just don't want to have that happen. Like I want to be prepared. I want to be able to talk about my experience during the recruiter screen. So I just thought, hey, this is the best time for me to just start getting my like behavioral interview part of my job search good to go. So I'm creating a little sheet that has like common behavioral interview questions. Like, tell me about yourself. Tell me about a time where you did X. I'm going to try to do like 3 solo practice interviews using questions from that behavioral screen sheet that are recorded. So I'm going to record myself answering those questions. And then finally, I'm going to just start diving into preparing for my technical interviews, which I feel like that's going to be kind of the hardest for me. I feel like behavioral interview I might do fine in, but technical interviews, like I don't know. I feel like they're definitely the harder thing to study for. As you can see, I can already tell this is going to be a very unique job search experience for me. Like I can already tell like this is different from the way things were when I applied for jobs. Last time I applied was like 2020. It's definitely a different market, but I really still feel positive, and I'm forcing myself to feel positive because that's all I can do right now. So yeah, basically let's get started on prepping, and I'm also going to see a friend of mine for lunch, so it's going to be a good day. Let's get started. This is going to seem really tedious, but the way I prep for a behavioral interview starts with filling out this doc. It might take you a full day or 2 to fill out this doc, but I promise it's going to make the prep process so much easier going forward. Our general strategy for behavioral interviews is that we're going to write down all possible behavioral interview questions and then study and practice our responses to these questions every single week leading up to getting an offer. So we're going to start with the first section, which is a review of past projects. Almost every behavioral interview, an interviewer is going to ask about a past project that's usually shown on your resume. We're going to just write down all of our past projects so it's easy for us to remember how we want to talk about these projects. So I start by writing who is this project for, the scope and the importance of the project, and most importantly, the impact this project had. And if you have any metrics, this is a place to put them. So that now if you're asked to explain what projects you worked on, it's so much easier to explain it because you already have it written down. The next section is behavioral and situational questions. So for generic behavioral questions like tell me about yourself, I write a quick blurb about what I would say if I was in this situation. I like to use the STAR method to structure my answers to these questions. The STAR method is so useful. So we start first by describing the situation and when it happened, explaining the task and goal at hand, then explaining the actions we took to achieve this goal, and finally wrapping up with the results of these actions. So because I'll also be applying to DevRel interviews, I'm going to be asked to explain technologies, especially ones that I have on my resume. So I'm also taking the chance to write a quick blurb of all the past technologies I've worked on. Once you have everything documented, I like to take it a step further and just turn this cheat sheet into flashcards, which is really easy to do with Quizlet. And this makes it easy for me to review on the go. After doing this, all we have to do is just practice our responses to these questions. Look who's here. Before we get started with the task for today, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, Fiverr. Outside of job hunting, I'm going to be making a lot of improvements to my app offline. I'm even thinking of doing a redesign of the entire app. The first place I'm going to find a designer to help me redesign this app is Fiverr. Fiverr is a platform that connects freelancers with businesses and people all over the world. I've used Fiverr in the past for so many different projects. For example, I used Fiverr to help me redesign my apartment, to help me create App Store screenshots, to help me create thumbnails. This time I'm using Fiverr to help me find a designer to help me redesign my app. As you can see, the current homepage looks fine, but I wanted to add a few new features. I wanted to add a button to block apps, and I wanted to also have a fresh and modern design for the app. After searching for app designers on Fiverr, I found Julia, who's UI and UX designer based in France with a CS background. I gave her the original design of the apps, as well as specifications about what I wanted changed and features I wanted to keep. After a few back and forths, she delivered a very stunning first draft within a day. But there are a few things that she was missing. I wanted her to add back the smiley face feature and to also add a refresh button. After explaining to her those requests, she turned in a final draft, which was exactly what I was looking for. What do you guys think about this new design? This is one of my many great experiences working with Fiverr. If you're interested in Fiverr, please check out the link in the description box down below. Today, we're starting the day off with a networking call with an engineer I met on LinkedIn, and then we're gonna get into studying for behavioral interviews today. So I'm starting first with this call to just learn more about a company that I'm interested in. This is something I'm gonna do throughout my entire job search process, and I'm really pushing myself because this is one of my weaknesses is networking. I don't know why, like I am not the strongest networker. It's just something that's like anxiety. I don't know. I just hate asking people for things. Like that's one of my biggest weakness, but it's important to do during this job search. Like I'm going to be asking people for referrals. This person actually reached out to me. They saw my video and they were like, oh, I can give you a referral to this company, which was very, very kind. But instead of a referral, I just wanted to make that connection and just talk to that person. This is not the first time I've actually done this. I've reached out to people on LinkedIn and said, hey, I see that you're in this role. I would love to learn more through a coffee chat. I'm going to send you guys a little blurb about what I send sometimes to people to make that connection on LinkedIn. But it's so important to network, and that's something that I'm working within myself because it's something I don't like doing. I hate asking for help, but it's essential in a tough job search process. So we're gonna start this day doing that networking call and just learning more about this person's role at X company. I don't wanna say the company, and just how they're enjoying it. Another thing I wanted to do today is, because we've written down all of those behavioral interview questions and we've turned them into flashcards, I'm gonna spend the next few hours today just reviewing those slides and just making sure that I really understand what's going on. Anyways, let's get to this call and let's learn more about this company. So as you know, we did the technical interview document, and then after that, we translated it into flashcards. So basically what I'm going to be doing right now is going through this set of flashcards that I have and doing a mock interview on myself to see how I'm responding to these different questions, right? So I have the questions over here, like the flashcard questions over here. I'm going to record myself on photo booth as a way of just simulating a mock interview. And I'm also going to time myself. So I'm going to use my app offline. As you guys know, this app has been absolutely essential during this time because it's really allowed me to focus. Like the times I need to focus, I will focus and do the work I need to do. So I'm going to be creating a timer. Initially, I'm blocking all the apps on my phone except for Quizlet, which is what I'm going to be using to ask myself the questions. And I'm going to get started and record myself. So we are going to a silks class. A friend invited me to a silks class, so that's where we're heading to right now.